All right, this is Omar Liles from Agape Love Network, leading with love, learning to deal with things that are difficult and uncomfortable in relationships. And so we have a wonderful guest here today by the name of Jessica Rogers. Jessica Rogers, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing fine, doing fine. And today we're going to have a really great topic. It's going to be called mental health after breakups. And as we begin to start, I just would like you to just introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Jessica Rogers. Like you said, I am a licensed therapeutic counselor. Um, I went to the University of Cumberland. I just recently graduated in September, and I was licensed in October. So I'm kind of new in the field of counseling, but I've been in the field of social work for over 10 years now.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. So why did you even choose to go into that major?
Well, it's funny. So I always said I was going to be one of two things growing up. They always told me pick your favorite subject in school and be that. So I did that first. I went for my undergrad was actually for teaching. I went to be a teacher for physical education. And then once I started doing my student teaching, I was like, this is not what I want to do. So I've always uh, been geared towards things that help others. So once I decided I wasn't going to do teaching, I became a mental health associate at a local behavioral health hospital that we have here in Bowling Green.
Mm,
And then through that, I just worked there 2 years, and then I got a job being a case manager through the therapeutic foster care agency that I'm with now. And the other thing I always said I was going to be was a counselor, because I was always one of those people came to and talked to just randomly. Like I'll be standing in line, somebody would turn around and tell me their whole life story, in a sense. And so I felt like that was my real calling, and I've always wanted to help. So we don't have enough black counselors in general, and just being able to reach out to somebody that looks like you and come and talk and help you with your needs and your mental health, I felt like that was very important.
awesome, awesome. And I like the field of counseling or psychology or any form of counseling I like.
Yes.
Yeah, so I always want to major in that specific area.
Hmm.
I have been training in chaplaincy and pastoral care as well,
Hmm.
through the College of Pastoral Supervision and Psychotherapy,
Nice.
to train as a chaplain. Right now, I'm doing some. I trained. I have two certifications. One is as a life coach, and the other one is in mental health coaching. But
Okay.
now I'm taking an advanced training in mental health coaching as well through the American Association of Christian Counselors through their educational platform like university online. So I'm taking some training through there too. I'm looking in the area of grief counseling
Yes.
and Christian counseling.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to doing that. But that's a really good major, and
Yes, it
I'm
is.
thankful that you've gone through that journey and glad that you graduated as well.
Right. Right.
You know,
It
and,
wasn't an option to fail.
yeah, right. Yeah, and so the training that you pretty much had, um, was it really extensive or anything like that? You had to do any interns and things of that
Yes.
nature.
Yes, I had to do a practicum, which was 100 hours, and then I did two internships, so
Yeah.
both equaling 300 hours. So at that time, I worked at a counseling agency. The first I worked at with a organization was actually faith based as well, but they housed single parents and their children for as long as they needed, and they helped them work their way up, like to where they could be stable at some point on their own and no longer
Mm,
need the program.
mm.
But yes, I did 700 hours in total for practicum and internship.
Mhm. Okay, so the real gist of this of today, what we're going to be talking about is mental health after breakups,
Yes.
and we all have. Well, I can't say we all. I can say me and many other people have had some sort of issues after a breakup.
Yes.
So, because after just a few questions, and then I would like you to just go into talking about for at least 3 to 5 minutes, talk about mental health after breakups.
Okay.
So, but for right now, when this subject came up, what came to mind?
Oh, well, being a woman, I think of just the feeling, the down and the like, well, what's wrong with me? What, why can't he love me? Or why, I initially think of that because I think that's how most women react after a significant breakup. I say significant because some of our breakups are like, whew, I'm glad I glad I got rid of him, but our significant ones, those are the ones that really put us in a kind of a mental headlock because we're just like, what happened? Where did this
Mm,
fall apart? We're
mhm.
always uh running it through our heads, like what, if not that day, it eventually hits you and you're like, what happened? Like we were here and now we got here. What happened along the way? And then or we see that we lost ourselves, like dang, I gave a lot of myself and I was getting nothing in return. Or um I stopped doing the things that I was passionate about to cater to somebody else. And just those types of things, that those are what I think of initially when I think of a breakup, a significant breakup.
Mm, awesome. Well, not awesome. As if it was something good about breaking up. My
Yeah,
goodness. but
right.
it may be good for some people
Yeah,
because if you have come from a relationship which is extremely toxic,
yeah,
more power to you that you had left by the grace of God that you
yes,
made it out
yeah,
alive.
yeah. But those,
Yeah,
even those have that hidden residue. You realize, like, dang,
yeah, yeah.
how did I get there?
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you have to find out pretty much why you have went through the situation that you have gone through, trying to bring yourself back to yourself again and come
Hmm.
back to your conscious, back to yourself again, and to realize that what you have gone through, um, and how it affected you as a person,
Yeah.
psychologically, how it hurt you mentally, so you have to get yourself back together, back to yourself again.
Hmm.
So there's just a lot of prayer and a lot of things that you have to go through,
Yes.
but I tell you, there are a lot of people who have come out of uh, bad relationships,
Hmm.
and they've made it through.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
Yeah. I feel like everybody can, as long as you have like the
Yeah.
right resources,
Yes.
that you need. And
Yes.
I realize that not everybody has that. So, we see those serial daters who get right back into the same different
Mhm.
person, same type of situation, but
Yeah.
it's because they don't have, some people aren't really willing to change either. There's stages of change, and some people never go to the next level. Like there's, pre-contemplation, you're thinking about it, but you're not sure about it,
Yeah.
so sometimes people get stuck in in that same level of change, or they're not ready, and
Mhm.
they it may never happen. That might be where they're fine operating at the time. But
Mm. Mm. So, what kind of mental health issues that people have after they break up from a relationship?
well, you see, of course, you see a lot of stress, you see a lot of depression, maybe some PTSD like symptoms, because they may get themselves into another relationship, and then they that's where you see the residue of the person may do something like that other person, not the same way, but then they lash out because they're not realizing that's where that was a trigger for them.
Mhm.
And so they, you see kind of like the lashing out or the changing of behavior. um um I think in women it's really, you see a lot more of like the depressive symptoms because women are more emotional, like I said, in the head. They're staying in their head and figuring things out and the anxiety. Um, but yeah, those are what come to mind when I see those significant breakups. And also the like stages of grief. You see that too.
Mhm.
People like being angry, um, calling like you can't do that to kind of
Mm.
thing,
Mhm.
so um it's just all over the place. It affects everybody differently.
Mhm. Yeah. So do you think that counseling would be needed? And is there a certain only to like a certain degree that a person would need counseling?
Definitely. I think that even just a small degree, if it was that significant that it has caused you all these internal battles, I think sometimes that also has raised the flag that might be something in us that we might need to examine. And that relationship kind of highlighted that,
Mhm.
um, or it brought up old stuff, old traumas that we've been through, and
Mm.
kind of now it's kind of set that off in us. And so I don't think that everybody needs therapy for a breakup, like I said,
Yeah.
but the more significant it was for you, I
Mhm.
think that again, it's like a loss. It's just you don't have to, and I'll kind of go into that when I talk about it. You don't have to physically, somebody doesn't have to physically die for you to grieve,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
So, people grieve over lots of things. People grieve over
Yeah.
their cars when
Mhm.
they get a
Yeah.
wreck.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think the more significant and the more internal turmoil you have with a breakup,
Mhm.
um, I think that's where you need to examine, okay, is this something I can just kind of move through like a week and get on about routine and do fine with, or after a week, am I still struggling and,
Mhm.
and having some really um, big feelings still
Mhm.
around it, that I
Mm.
may need to talk out.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that's very, very interesting that you pretty much state because I think to a certain degree, people do need counseling depending on the worst of it. You
Hmm.
know, if it's like severe, if it's like related to suicide, or if it's not be able to function in life, you
Yes.
know, and it creates so many things that
Mhm.
happen in that individual person's life,
Yeah.
ranging from depression, and they can actually get ill from not eating,
Yeah.
not sleeping right, and things of that particular nature because people have gone through that and they have actually done that.
Hmm.
So yes, it is very important for some people to get it, but I wouldn't expect everyone to get it, depending on the degree and
Yeah.
the nature of their breakup.
Hmm.
So here we go. Uh, for 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5. Five is the most, but you don't have to go to five.
Okay.
Just give let's just let everybody know. Well, just give us some pointers, and just some golden nuggets related to helping people with mental health after breakups.
Okay. So I just briefly stating about what we were talking about. I went through a divorce and it was a very tumultuous time and very unhealthy situation. And so after that, I was kind of left feeling with the feelings of grief. Uh, Not so much because of the relationship, but more so because I felt like I failed. I felt like um, I always wanted to be married, but I never saw myself getting divorced. So, and then also too, like we stated, being in the situation that I was, it was very unhealthy. My husband was very manipulative. He was very, um, he had some of the abuser traits, basically. And so, dealing with that, we tried counseling, couples counseling, and things like that. But at that time, I realized that what made me come to realize is that my grandparents told me we see a change in you and it's not for the better. And so that really made my antenna stick up and be like, this may not be what's right for me. So basically, after getting out of that, Like I told you, I went through kind of like a grieving process. And this is one of the pointers that I would also like to express is after a breakup, like we talked, if it's really significant, especially like a marriage, or even if you haven't been married or you've been with that person a long time, take time to grieve the loss and be gentle with yourself. I know culture wants us to just be like, act like we're fine, be like, nothing bothers us, and kind of like it's, well, your loss and things like that. And that's fine to think that, it may be their loss, but we need to take time to actually deal with our feelings and actually grieve the loss, because my marriage, for me, it was a loss. It wasn't so much about the person I was losing, but it was the kind of like the dream that I had died. So, like we said, it doesn't have to be a person actually die, but it can be um, the thought of, uh, just for example, like when you no longer realize, I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but when you realize Santa wasn't real, you may have grieved that loss because it was something that you had always thought of. And you know um but when you're doing that, just again, take time and be gentle with yourself. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So if you have days where you need to cry, cry, but don't let yourself stay there either. Give yourself that time to work through those feelings. And this is where journaling can come in handy, keeping a log of how you're feeling each day, to kind of um, see if you struggle more in the morning, afternoon, at night. And then once you figure that out, take time to put something in place, like maybe you do deep breathing at night to help calm yourself or to help work through those emotions. Writing, again, journal prompting, write those things down. What kind of insight do you see? And then that leads me into my second point: seek the help you need. It's okay not to be okay. If you need help, nobody is going to fault you for needing help. If you need to see a counselor, do that. Pray, take walks, do what you need to do, seek the help that you need, so that you can be better for you. That's ultimately what you're trying to get back to, is you, the you before the breakup. And we may not go back to being the person that we were, because the breakup might have shown us things that we need to work on. So when you seek counseling, talk to your counselor about those significant things in that relationship. Talk to the counselor about why you really may be feeling the way you're feeling after this breakup. You might learn something more about yourself that helps you to develop and become a better you. Um, and then my last point is to create a routine for yourself that that includes regular self care. Um, we all, in the hustle and bustle of life, we all could use more self-care. And self-care is not selfish, right? It's what helps us refill our cup, even if we don't have somebody there helping us do that. But it's taking that intentional time out for yourself that we all need to say, hey, I'm human. I can only take so much. And right now, I need to take care of me so that when it comes time, I can take care of whoever and whatever else I need to take care of. And doing that also too will help your future relationships, because when you're well, so are your relationships. But some things that you can do in your regular self care are take a long bath. Take that long bath that you want. Instead of rushing yourself in the bathroom, set aside time to light candles or play your favorite music or whatever you do, and take that time and just enjoy a long bath. Going for walks. Nature is a great reliever. So when you just feel tense or anything like that, take time out to go for a walk, 5 minutes down the road, or take on your break, just take time to go even sit outside and look at a tree, look at the grass, and that can have a calming effect. Start a new hobby. Hobbies are cheap nowadays, but just doing something that you can also learn something, and then also do something that relaxes you and takes your mind off the things that are stressing you at that time. And then, one of my favorites is going out and exploring a new place. We all have places around our town or our city. Even just if you go in a new neighborhood, see what houses have been built. Make new goals for yourself that you can feel proud to accomplish. Because what we're trying to do is get ourselves out of that rut that we've been in, and we're creating new habits for ourselves so that we're not left just kind of sitting stewing in our feelings, as we would say. And so my last point is, singleness is not a curse, but it is what we make it. So if we choose not to get the help that we need, or we choose not to reach out, or we choose not to take care of ourselves, we have the intention to sometimes repeat the patterns that we have, if we're not ready to address the habits that we created. So just remember that it's okay to be single. uh it's not a curse. If you find yourself single or after a breakup, or you know um you don't have to rush right back into a relationship. Find out what you like. Enjoy you. Be your own best friend. And yeah, that's my last point. I hope this helps someone.
Okay, great job, great job. You've given many practical reasons in helping people and learning how to deal with things after a breakup. So thank you very much
You're welcome.
for that. People can take notes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just let everybody know how they can actually locate you.
You can find me on Facebook under Jessica Renee, or you can find me on Instagram. It's Love Conquers Nations, all one word.
All right. Well, thank you for actually being here on the Agape Love Network. Just giving us uh, what it's like, and just giving us information, vital information on mental health after breakup. So I appreciate you, and we're gonna have you on again in the future,
All right.
on some other various topics. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.